Traditional knowledge and cultural expressions were the focus of the 38th session of the IGC that took place from December the 10th to the 14th. The session was successful in the sense that the delegates improved and worked on the two draft texts of a possible future legal instrument or instruments on these two areas. They worked on these texts and they transmitted these texts to the next session of the IGC as a basis for future work. These are difficult issues, of course, but the delegates really dug deep on two fundamental questions and had some very good discussions. The first is the meaning of traditional. Obviously, it's a fundamental question in this area. And the question there is, what is the difference between, say, traditional knowledge and contemporary knowledge? Where does one draw the line between those two concepts? The second area where a lot of work was done was on the scope of rights. And the issue there is, should different kinds of TK get different levels of rights? So, for example, should closely held knowledge be given stronger rights than knowledge which is widely spread? The texts are still heavily bracketed, but the level of discussion was sort of better than it looks in the text, if one may say so. The discussion took place firstly in an expert group, an ad hoc expert group that met on the Sunday before the session. Then in the session itself, there were contact groups. This is smallish groups of about 15 people. The Indigenous Caucus was involved in all of these meetings. Then there were informals. This is meetings of about 50 delegates or so, 45 or 50. And then in the plenary, of course. Three more things I'd like to mention briefly. The first is there was a very strong Indigenous panel on the first day of the session. There were two very good side events. One was on the, again, important question of shared knowledge, knowledge that more than one people have, which is same or similar, or knowledge which runs across national borders. It's a very difficult and important question. And the third issue is the voluntary fund. We're really calling upon states and foundations to contribute to the fund. It has no more money left. The next session takes place in March next year. It'll be preceded by another meeting of an ad hoc group of experts. And all of this information is in more detail in a written summary on our site.